Welcome back to the Gentlemen Ultras podcast with me, Richard Hall. We've eventually decided who's doing the intro today. That took about a few minutes longer than I thought. Let's just say season's greetings to everyone. Chris, how are we doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, not bad, thank you. Yeah, I'm on a self-imposed couple of days of detox after Christmas at the moment. So yeah, it's a good day to choose to do some recording.
A good effort. Well, we've been struggling to get back into the swing of things. We already had a lighting change and an outfit change on this side. So, yeah, okay.
And then about 2 minutes of silence while we decided who was doing the intro.
Yeah, so don't expect much from this one because, we don't. I'll tell you what we will start on. There's a game last night, and obviously both of us, follow the black and blue of Inter. And then, yeah, there you I understand that, he's not going to be a regular starter as such. And this is the way that I'm going to take into social media aspects. And a lot of people say the same thing. He doesn't fit the system. This isn't me, by the way. He doesn't fit the system. Therefore, there's no issues with his professionalism. Even Beppe Marotta said so today. He's great. Everyone loves him. He's good at what he does, but he doesn't fit the system according to the Inter fans. Therefore, we should be all very kind and let him leave on the best possible terms. From my point of view, and we had a couple of messages last night for the Atalanta game, and my opinion is we sometimes need a difference maker, but also I would rate him higher in not ability, but the way he is at this moment than Henrik Mkhitaryan. And also, when he doesn't fit the system, is it not the sort of player we need to mix it up? So basically, the question's so many different directions, but where's your standpoint on Frattesi?
Yeah, I like Davide Frattesi. I think you're exactly right there. He doesn't necessarily fit the system, but when the system isn't working, you don't need a player that fits the system. You need someone who can change up the system. And Davide Frattesi does that. You can't ever fault his graft or his effort. He's often the hardest working player on that football pitch. I would have him 100% above Mkhitaryan these days. I like Mickey from a few years ago, but yeah, I think he's done a little bit now, isn't he? He would be ahead of him. And let's not forget, Davide Frattesi scored the winning goal in the Champions League semi-final in May. So this player's not finished. This player's got a lot to offer. You've only got to look at the sort of clubs that are sort of tailing him allegedly at the moment. You've got a lot of Premier League teams, Newcastle looking at him. I think Manchester United have been linked to him recently as well. They're all in their own moment at the minute, these clubs, but they're not Mickey Mouse clubs. They're big clubs in European football. He's a top player, and I think it might be a little bit, you don't know what you're going to have. You don't know what you've got till it's gone from Inter's perspective.
Yeah, I think that. And I think that there's, like we were talking about, I was getting a bit nostalgic last night when we were messaging and saying that when Inter, we see them on the break and it's amazing. And yeah, okay, the likes of we spent DiMarco not firing at the moment. Even Lautaro and Thuram, considering the amount of chances they're getting, we should have been way clear in that game. It's just not quite there. But
he won't take a shot on when he should, and then he takes shots on when he shouldn't be. He just winds me up.
Oh, it's mad, isn't it? It's crazy at the moment, but still where we are. I'm not going to keep this whole thing about Inter. We'll move on from it really quick. But it's that situation where with Frattesi, we're not going to have Alvaro Recobar turning up and the game's to change. But that doesn't mean that Kivu, and I think even to a point, Inzaghi was guilty of that, not having that plan B, especially when Inzaghi first came onto the scene. And it would be nice to see, especially with teams that maybe sit in against us. That's when I see the likes of Frattesi and potentially some others working a bit. But just to end this Inter thing before people start thinking it's an Inter podcast, your thoughts on last night? Just happy to get over the line against Atalanta, or?
Yeah, listen, the big criticism being swung into this season is those big games, the sort of the away from home against the top teams. They struggle in them and they don't win them. Now, Atalanta, the way they're playing this season, they're not a top team, but they're in the Champions League, top 3 at the minute. They're still a good side. It's a Lombardy derby. They're going away from home. Napoli and Milan have both won earlier in the weekend, so Inter had to win. I thought it was a big psychological win more than anything else. First off, they could have been 3-0 up and away. That's been the story a lot this season, and they've not won the game. You look at the Milan derby, for instance, should have been far and away out of sight by half time, and they lost the game. So, yeah, pleased to come away with a win with it, 100%. I'm not You talk about plan Bs with coaches. I'm not too convinced on Kiwi's plan B, where was it the last 10 minutes when Atalanta were then starting the third thing forward? We took away our outlets up top and went with one striker and dropped another man into the midfield. And it's sort of like, oh, all you're doing is inviting more pressure on the team here. And if
Yeah.
Samardzic had got that right, then that's a 1-1 draw, because I would have fancied my chances tucking that one in the bottom corner. The chance he had, it was insane. I'd already thrown my remote controller on the floor because I just assumed he'd gone in. And when he put it wide, I was delighted, yeah. But my only other complaint from the game is that I had Gianluca Scamacca in my Fanta Calcio team, and he was he 4 yards out when he put that header wide in the first half, completely unmarked. Come on, Gianluca, like, do me a favour.
I mean,
I've got to
I
be
put
honest with you, I
myself
haven't
through
really.
Juventus Pisa. I don't know why. I mean, it's not about Juventus. It's not, honestly. I mean, Juventus are a massive team. Not gonna, with the Inter perspective, it's not a drilling home at Juve. It's just, I'd be absolutely delighted if I was a Juve fan right now. But watching them, I mean, maybe they used to after watching some of the Allegri teams, but winning's winning, and find it hard. I don't know about you.
The thing with Juventus, though, is that they just need to get back to winning matches. When you're winning matches, then you can start trying to win them a certain way. You just need to start winning again, which they haven't been doing. So, look, if I was a Juventus fan, and thank God I'm not, but if I was, perhaps would just be pleased to be winning matches at the moment. They've had a rough couple of years, haven't they? But yeah, and no one's crying any tears for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I mean, Calcio-wise, I've not really got my fix over Christmas. We spent a lot of time watching matches in England. I've been at a couple of Gillingham games and going tonight to the Gillingham match, a few non-league games locally. So when I then come home and I say, I'm going to put the Italian football on, I get very swiftly met with a no, you're not. So I've been trying to I've certainly been following the scorelines and I've been trying to follow the highlights where I can, but I drew the line with Inter last night. I had to watch the Inter match. So
I've been looking at him. I'm managing to blame it all on my 6-year-old. Number one, because he's just completely obsessed with Italian football because of the kits. So the idea is just keep buying him more kits, and that's better. Because then he comes downstairs in the morning, got like at least 2 hours because he gets up so early. And it's like, in order, it's always Serie A, Serie B, Serie C, then England, then Spain, then Germany. So I just watch all the football at the moment in the morning, so it's not too bad. But Serie B's shown some good games as well, and Serie C as well, actually. So, but
yeah, I've got
somewhere you're off to, I think, I struggle to keep up with you. Or at least looking at, you wanted to go to Venice.
yeah, so I've done a couple
And
of
that
videos
was a good game
lately.
against Santilla, versus Santilla. A really, really good game on the weekend.
Yeah, it was a big win for them, wasn't it, that they needed to get through. Interesting at the top of Serie B at the moment. I mean, I've long been even before sort of being a big Calcio kick, I've long been a sort of proponent of the lower leagues of the game in England. Saying about, sod the Premier League, you don't need to watch that. It's boring, there's too much money. Get lower league, looking at the Championship Leagues 1 and 2. I'm sort of feeling now the same in Italy a little bit. Obviously, I still follow Inter, first love, whatever, in Italy. I'll always be following them and
Yeah.
watching those games. But you look further down the pyramid and it's fantastic. There's so much going on. The atmospheres in those lower leagues are fantastic. You get down to D and see some great atmospheres and some huge ultra sectors that, frankly, you're not seeing in League Two in England, certainly. So I've been on a bit of a Serie B kick. I know I had the involvement with the guys from the league where we were choosing November's Player of the Month. We've got something put together for my next trip to Palermo, which is 2 weeks Friday. Flying out
That's
there,
going quick.
spending a bit of time with Palermo and Serie B out there, which is fantastic. And then, listen, they just confirmed all their fixtures till, I think, the end of February now. So I've been going through and I've been releasing a few videos. If anyone follows me, they'll know they've seen the videos. Venice is on there, and I've found a double match day as well that I released yesterday, which is Spezia and Carreras. So I'm not doing it because it's in between 2 other trips for me. I can't, I'll be a single man if I keep doing it, but yeah, I think there's a few that have watched the video and have been messaging me saying, okay, how do I get tickets for this then? How am I going to do this? So we're, yeah, there's a lot to be said about Serie B and I'm trying my best to push it for them.
Yeah, then you've done a good job with it as well. But I wanted to ask you about Spezia, actually. I was saving it for this call. I know we touched on it just before, but I was mentioning the last pod we did about stuff I might be doing with Spezia. It's all confirmed over New Year now. So as you know already that I'll be doing the podcast for those guys in the New Year, which I'm really excited about because a bit like you, obviously I'm still doing the Inter thing and Inter have signed it off and Spezia have signed it off. That was my biggest worry about not stepping on toes and stuff because Inter, like you, it's my club and stuff. But with Spezia, it's somewhere that now I'm going to end up spending a bit of time in. And so you've probably been looking into this more than I because of your relationship with Cine money being all the travel and everything else. And so I thought I'd leave it till here to make it seem quite realistic, but to test your knowledge as well, is because my thought process, I was looking at it, and this has only happened in the last 48 hours, and I'm still waiting for emails as we speak on certain things. But so I'm doing some of the YouTube, doing the podcast, and one of the things I'll have to do this year is when you're sort of doing that, obviously we can't live out there, and it's really like, even with the Inter stuff, I go out and do certain things. So the first time I'm going to do it with Spezia, I'm not going to tie it in with Milan. So that's not necessary for this conversation. So I was looking, thinking, flying to Pisa, right? So I thought, well, why not ask you? You know what you're doing with this. But my thought process is the train network, especially Milan Genoa, is like, what, two and a bit? And so I was thinking maybe flying to Pisa and go up, maybe. But yeah, I mean, listen, sorry, with Spezia, obviously the region's really cool. And like yourself, when you've had stuff with it's amazing with Serie B, we've had something similar where the local council are what do you call it? The regional
Yeah,
assembly are trying
yeah.
to, the tourist boards are sort of like looking to help out with it as well, because again, that part of Spezia, La Spezia, is quite an untapped region. To an extent, I think there's certain people who go there, and it's quite a wealthy area. But I would say for the normal football fan, it's not somewhere, is it?
No, it's do you know what? And it was only when I was in Genoa for the match a few weeks ago, the Genoa game. A few of the other English lads we ran into there. It was like, oh, we're going to Spezia versus Samp tomorrow. It's just down the coast. And he started looking into more. I was like, oh, crap. Yeah, we could have combined this and done 2 trips, done 2 matches. But we just didn't have the planning at the time. But yeah, the videos I released was fly from London to Genoa. And then you are 1 hour and 6 minutes, I believe, because that's how many takes I had to do, is that I've got that time now down to the minute. 1 hour, 6 minutes from Principe station in Genoa to La Spezia. That was about €9.50, I think, the trip, which is insane. Because if you're doing an hour-long trip on the train in the UK, get your credit card out because it's going to be expensive.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and this is a massive thing. What we need to sort of push as well for content is that you are incredibly lucky to be able to go out of London.
Yeah,
And for
I am. Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
football fans like in the north, even Manchester, where you think you'd be a mate, and it's a great airport, they're always investing, etc., etc., etc. But it's really difficult,
I think you can
because
get quite far from Manchester quite easily, but getting to closer destinations like Italy and Germany, etc., I think it's quite hard from Manchester, isn't it?
yeah,
I think
and a
you can do
lot
the
now
Middle
the
East and
BA flight.
America
This is
quite
a whole
easily,
other
can't you?
conversation, which we're not, the
Yeah,
BA
yeah.
flights have stopped from a lot of there. So BA is now concentrated around London. But yeah, you're right. There are some really amazing destinations from Manchester. But like you say, to go direct to Genoa's, I mean, listen, I'm always happy to be wrong as well. So people message us and say, listen, you
No, you're not
moron.
wrong, because every time I do a video from London, everyone says, "What about us up north?" And so I always look for the northern airports now, and there is a Ryanair route from Manchester to Pisa, but it's seasonal, so you won't
Yeah,
be going until the spring. Let me tell you that.
because because Liverpool as well do. I'm trying to think now. There's really odd
EasyJet
things like
Liverpool, isn't it? Is that their airport?
pardon?
Is it EasyJet Liverpool though? Isn't it? That's their
Yeah,
airport, I
but
think, isn't it? Yeah.
randomly, like you can go to like the south, like you could fly into Nice and get to Genoa quite easy. But
Mm,
then again, you got to go
yeah.
down, and it's a mess. But whereas I think Pisa's probably the best route. But So if anyone knows, just totally randomly, and I would love to think that if someone's just spending, your summers or winters on the Ligurian coast, tap me up for other reasons as well, because you must be loaded, but
Yeah,
also
that's it.
as
Yeah, yeah. You
well.
must have a lovely villa you could stay at when you're over there, Rich.
And it's a nice part of the world. But now I'm looking forward to that, because again, it's something different. It's something silly a bit. I mean, I don't know if you saw the highlights against Pescara from Spezia, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
but
nice little
I
state.
was
Well, say
in
little.
a furious way, because obviously my first Serie B trip was Pescara, and I loved that little town and that little football team. So I wasn't overly impressed with them. That was the last minute, wasn't it? Was it like 94th minute or something?
It was, yeah, 92nd minute. It was a great atmosphere. Yeah, it was the first goal from Spezia was different level as well. But yeah,
You let me know when you do.
and you look at it and you
But
take
they're
it all
missing the
into.
goals of Pio, aren't they?
Yeah, massively. Well, I mean, they're going to, aren't they? I mean, I've still got this, if he'd have stayed there and Salvatore as well, his brother. Can you imagine that if it had had Salvatore, got Sebastiano and thrown Pio in as well? It'd have been something else, wouldn't it? But no, it's good. But right, I'm not actually saying I'm going to say this to you, but I always think it's quite a good idea, especially when we've been talking about obviously our collaboration. And we are going to have a chat offline. We've had many most days. I speak to my wife at the moment, and actually she might watch this. But the point being is, we've got quite a little lot planned for the new year. So but also as well, it's like it would be good from anyone to give us a shout about what they want to do as well, wouldn't it? Because I think obviously travel is something you're going to massively focus on as well. But again, like podcast content, anything really, it's going to be. What things are you looking forward to most for 2026 then?
I mean, travel-wise, yeah, certainly some of the new trips we're doing. I'm really, really buzzing for Palermo.
That's going to
That's
be amazing.
2 weeks Friday. There's a few ticks in the boxes that one's given me. One is that it's a new place for me to go. Two is that it's Sicily, and I only went there once for a wedding. That was down in Taormina. So I'm buzzing to go back to Sicily. The food on Sicily is a massive box tick. The atmosphere in the stadium is going to be amazing.
That's be good.
That Curva Nord in Palermo is great. It's a lads trip. There's 4 of us. 4 of the boys are all going out there. A few days out, so there'll be a few beers flowing. Yeah, just like I said, they're like rolling out the red carpet for us a little bit with some of the stuff we're going to do. We're really excited about that. Week after that, and the missus wasn't too happy when I said, "Oh no, they're back-to-back weeks." I'm out to Milan for Inter Pisa, and then an overnight stay, and then going into Como, Torino the next day. In Milan on that Friday afternoon, we've got a meet-up of a lot of our followers from the Calcio blog. I clocked sort of quite early on that a lot of people are going to the game. They all found a cheap deal. They're all flying out there on the Friday morning.
Yeah,
So I've managed to arrange some sort of little meet-up, and it's escalated a little bit. There's going to be about 60 of us in the pub in
really?
Milan on the Friday lunchtime. Yeah, all English, mainly blokes. I think there's a few women coming out there, but mainly blokes. 60 of us all in the football pub in Milan on the Friday afternoon. Yeah, I'm not sure how that'll go. We'll see. It might be the worst mistake I've ever made. It might be the best thing I've ever done. Well, I don't know yet. So the first 2 trips I'm really excited about. Then I've got the week off during February half term. Just me and my daughter are going to go. It's going to be just us. Going to be a lot more chilled on our trip. We've sort of landed on doing Bari for that. Another new destination, another new tick off the stadium list. It looks fantastic, Bari. Yeah. It's not the cheapest place to get to during the half term, but I'm hoping it's far enough south that the weather will be good while we're down there. And then I'm taking my dad to the San Siro as well. So that's in March. We're going for the Inter Atalanta game. So content-wise, there's going to be a bit Inter heavy at the start of the year. But yeah, I had to take the old man to the San Siro. He's been sort of chomping at the bit to go for ages. So, that's a nice trip I'm looking forward to. Yeah, the first quarter of the year, it's going to be busy. Work-wise, it's going to be busy as well. So I might be absolutely shattered come April. But
I mean, for myself, obviously, like I said about the Spezia trip, that's new now, which I'm looking forward to that one. Because again, it's been to a lot of stadiums like yourself, but that's going to be. I think what I'm looking forward to about that as well is that even if it was like Foggia, for instance, which again, that needs to be ticked off. But it's like, it's not part of that nostalgic 90s thing. Like if I was going to Udine, again, another massive one I really want to do. So there's the ones like Foggia, Udine, Bari, I'd love to do San Nicola. I'd love to do that. They're like big tick lists. But then the other side, Como were one of those things originally back in the day because they weren't part of 88 there. But then there's things like Sudtirol I mentioned, which is one I want to get to. And
100% on the list, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll do that one together because that'd be cracking. And we said about maybe September. And then
Sudtirol, sorry, just on the way, by the way, Sudtirol is something you could probably combine with Udine. I think if you fly
that'd be good.
to
We should do
Trieste, I think is sort of halfway between the two. A lot of mucking about in trains, but you could do them both, yeah.
Yeah, but there you go, like a Sudtirol, Trieste, and then I've talked about they're not the normal traditional ones. Trieste with that stadium would be amazing. What's it called? The Rocco. It is, isn't it? It's the Stadio. Yeah.
I think what it's called. Yeah.
Rocco. But yeah, that would be amazing. So that's going to be good. Obviously, a couple of inter trips, but again, that's a necessity, which I'm not complaining about. But yeah, There's my little boy starting to
It's old
ask
hat now,
questions.
isn't it? Inter and San Siro.
Well, I was going to say this, but
Everyone's
for
seen that
people,
content now a million times. It's not going to stop me from going and doing it again.
yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like now when I first went to Inter, it's like so much content, so much stuff. But now it's like, because I think a lot of people do it really well anyway. But I think that it's sort of just become, and especially if it does go, it's sort of just become about my memories with it. But it's been, I mean, it's like we're talking crying out loud, 20 years now. 20 plus years ago into that stadium, and it's like. Yeah, it's mad. So the next couple of years will be a bit special because it will be just about grasping those last bits of it. If
Ticket
so
prices are going to go up and up and up.
yeah. I was watching, and you're going to give me grief for this, but my wife may have got me a Roma trip, funnily enough, involved because I've started to be quite calculated now with what we watch on TV. So she wanted to watch Emily in Paris, and I was thinking, okay, well, the season's in Rome, and we've had a lot of history in Rome, Rachel and I. So last night I was thinking, how manipulative can I be? This beard needs to get longer. And I was thinking, and she was going, oh, we should, and I was like, no, I'm not sure I want to watch it. She's like, well, I'll drag you through the last series. I was like, yeah. She went, but we might see, so she's trying to convince me to watch it. And she went, well, we might see somewhere we want to stay in Rome. Let's watch it. So
Yeah, there you go.
now we watched that, and I was thinking, right, okay, why don't we try it? So I was looking for every single restaurant on that film, saying, why don't we go there? Why don't we do this? So yeah, because I've never figured it out, and she was the one who mentioned it. I've been to Rome so many times, that every single time it's been Lazio. I've only
Really?
ever seen
Okay.
Roma ever in San Siro.
So
So
I've never been to Rome still, despite all these Italian trips. It's almost a bit like the sort of, well, I'm obviously going to go to Rome at some point, so I don't need to go now.
hey, are
But
you
now I'm sort
joking?
of getting like 10, 12 trips in, and people are messaging me going, "Oh, can you give me any recommendations in Rome?" I'm just like, "No, actually, I can't. I've never been."
It's so I'm conscious of time, so we'll quickly hit through it. But the best thing about Rome is number one, Italianity. It just
Mhm.
screams Italianity. Two, the hills behind it. Three, it's the Olympic Village. And yeah, okay, there's that whole fascist statuesque 1930s thing going on. But what you don't realize is a
Yeah.
massive swimming pool in there, Olympic swimming pool with a really cool restaurant. We did the ATP tour, watched Djokovic and Nadal one year, and then watched Inter qualify for the Champions League. Literally completed sport. That was amazing. But the whole stadium, it's like it doesn't feel like a national stadium. It's still got that feel of like it's just immensely cool. The only thing is the transportation getting back out is you've done. I think you've done Bologna, haven't you?
I have done Bologna, yeah.
You know how shit it is to get out. Excuse my language, but how bad it is to get out of Bologna.
Do you know
Times it
what?
by 50, and that's
I
Rome
do
getting
you
out.
know, I thought I might have just been lucky because we walked out the stage at Bologna, and there was a bus right in front of me with its door open. And it just went straight onto it and straight back to the city centre.
You're
So
joking.
you're not the only one that said to me about Bologna. And every time I said it, I thought, well, I thought it was all right.
Horrendous, Bologna. Bologna's the three. Fiorentina's, if you know Florence, Fiorentina's fine. If you don't know Florence, Fiorentina's terrible. Rome is so bad because there's so many people, and there's like one bus, no trams, and every taxi basically you just got no chance. It's just terrible.
One
But
thing I find, I mean, look, I love Italy and I love the Italians, but they are the least organised people I've ever met in my life. The sort of organisation of getting 70,000 people out of a stadium at one time, it just expects it to be crap, really, don't you? And just sort of like, well, it is what it is.
well, the funniest thing about this is when you think, why is that infrastructure not there? Because you look at the Stadio Olimpico, Rome, Italia 90, which I just mentioned. Yes, even then there had to be a lot of infrastructure. But this is still my favourite story with something over COVID with the Gentleman Ultra when we were doing stuff. And we wrote an article on the San Nicola. And obviously loads of research, talked to loads of people. And we're doing these because we had obviously COVID, loads of time on our hands, looking at all the aerial shots and the first, going through the old plans of everything. And when we put the article out, it's in the Guardian somewhere. We mentioned the railway station at the side of it has never happened.
Mm.
There's a guy, I think, apologies if I get your Twitter handle wrong. It's Calcio Bari or Bari Brit or on X. And he's a gentleman of a certain vintage who lives out in Bari, season ticket holder, great guy, brilliant bloke. If anyone wants to, you should hit him up when you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Oh, it sounds like I'm going to be
Fantastic
dropping
bloke.
him a message, yeah.
Yeah, knows it all. And he said he messaged privately, not giving us grief on this. Look, Richard, guys, I think he's been on our podcast and written for us at sometimes, and he said, "Look, this railway station, it's mythical. It never existed." And we're going, "It did. It's factual. It existed." He's going, "No, no, 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 no. It didn't exist. It existed." And I'm thinking, I'm wrong here because this guy lives there, and what are we
Yeah.
doing? Anyway, it turns out I'm sending this guy the images and the plans of it, and he said, "Okay, I'm doing my like weekly COVID walk or whatever it was at the time." Walked up and he went, "Christ, that mound of grass, that was the old line." And yeah, it was. And that's the railway station that never actually worked. It was built and never a train has got to the stadium,
Do you know,
which
it's
is
funny because it brings us back to England, following Gillingham around a few years ago when we were fortunate enough to be a League One team and not a League Two team. Went to Coventry away at what was then the Rico, the CBS arena it is now. They have a train station there and the train runs up there, but it doesn't run on match days because it would be too busy. Because they've got conference and banqueting facilities there, it runs there during the week and it goes up and down and it's every half an hour or something and it ferries people back and forth to the stadium. But on a match day, it doesn't run. The trains don't run up there.
you know what? That's mental. I will end it because I'm conscious of time.
Just before we end, I just want
I
to have
think I've said,
one
oh,
quick moan about something.
of course. Well, I'll finish on this and I'll let you go. The one
Yes, let's
thing
do it.
very
Yeah, yeah.
quickly was when I think I've mentioned this on here before, but got engaged to my wife 2010,
Be careful now.
10, Florence, and got a ticket from the concierge at the hotel for the stay because it was so difficult back then. Fiorentina, even in the late 2000s, early 2000s, sorry, didn't sell tickets out their ticket office on match day. Still the best one ever. That never ever. I said, "Why can't I get a ticket at the stadium?" Don't sell them. Why? And he's almost like the same excuse. "Oh, I'd be busy. I'll have queues."
Yeah. God forbid people want to come and watch. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, sorry, you have a moan.
I want to have a moan because I don't know if you've done it yet, but I've downloaded the update for the Serie A app on my phone.
Not
And
yet,
it
no.
is a crock of nonsense. What they've done to this app is incredible. It takes about 10 minutes to load up, and it's just a screenshot of all their partners, basically, at the moment.
Right.
When you try to open it up and it takes forever to load, you're just looking at Frecciarossa logo for like 10 minutes. Nothing against Frecciarossa. I like the trains in Italy.
Yeah, good trains.
When you get in there, everything's a bit harder to find, and that is what it is because I just need to get used to that. But the notifications on it are obscene. It pops up and it says, you know, Parma versus Juventus. The referee gets us underway, doesn't tell you what the score is. It then tells you goal for Juventus, doesn't tell you what the score is or who scored it. It just says goal Juventus. And then it says the full time thing. It says the referee blows for full time at Parma v Juventus, Pisa v Juventus, whatever. Doesn't tell you what the score was. So I know that the game started and when it's finished, and unless I'm looking at every single notification, totting it up in my head, I don't know what the score is. Because if I leave my phone for half an hour and look at it again, I've got to go through all these notifications on who scored. The other one, I keep getting notifications from it, which is just like a list of code. Like it doesn't say anything. So I don't know what they've done with this app, but if anyone from Serie A listens to this podcast, please God sort it out because you've ruined it.
It's one of those, isn't it? It's probably the only league in the world, and this goes back from years, when whether it's travel, tickets, or anything else, you just don't trust the clubs or the league.
It was funny, wasn't it? Because when they were trying to have the game in Australia, some of the conditions that the AFC gave to Italy to host it was you are not allowed to market or promote this game in any way. And I put it in one of the group chats, and one of the guys now was like, well, they've probably seen how Italy promotes its own league for the last 20 years and thought, no.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a bit of a mess anyway. So, do you know what? We'll save City and Chi for another time because I have a whole thing about that on the same thing. But
I've got a few more days off yet, so we can do something later in the week.
Yeah, 100%, definitely will do. Right, mate. Well, I like every time it could go on for like 4 hours, but we'll call it here. Give people a break. But yeah, we'll definitely do one soon. So thanks again, mate. And from me, it's ciao for now.
Arrivederci.